How to read a poem and feel more fully alive. Hi, this is Dale Byron, and this is Heart Work, a podcast where we work with poetry. And we are doing a series over the last couple of weeks about how to read poetry for more joy, more insight, more healing. And what we want to do is talk about very practical things that each of us can do in reading poetry so that that poetry is even more meaningful for us. And in the first week, just by way of review, we talked about how we can speak poems alive using our own human voice. And we talked about the idea that even when you're reading or working with poems by yourself, to read it aloud, to actually infuse the poem with your own voice, can be very powerful. And the second week, last week, we talked about pausing for power, which really is the idea of how important silence is and these pauses in terms of how much power, again, how much insight, joy, and healing the poem provides. Well, this week, we the tool that we have, or the principle that we have, is very simple. It's called honor the heartlines. Honor the heartlines. And a heartline, in my estimation, is that piece of a poem. It's usually a line or several lines which really get to the essence of the poem. It just comes at us like a speeding freight train. And so we want to honor the heart line in terms of being able to fully infuse it with ourselves. The note I made for myself is that the heart lines are the lines that shimmer with more than words, inviting us to stop, to feel, and be changed. Not every poem has a heart line, my note says, but the ones that stay with us always do. So we have been in this series, we've been picking a poem that was particularly, I think, helpful in showing this these principles. And the one that I've chosen this week is a poem by the wonderful, amazing poet William Stafford, and it's called "You Reading This, Be Ready." I've loved this poem for so many years. "You reading this, be ready," said the poet William Stafford, the title. Poem goes like this: starting here, starting here. What do you want to remember? Starting here, what do you want to remember? How sunlight creeps along a shining floor. What scent of old wood hovers? What scent of old wood hovers? What softened sound from outside fills the air? Will you ever bring a better gift for the world than the breathing respect that you carry wherever you go right now? Are you waiting for time to show you some better thoughts? When you turn around, when you turn around, starting here, lift this new glimpse that you found. Carry into evening. Carry into evening all that you want from this day, this interval you've spent reading or hearing this. Keep it for life. Keep it for life. What can anyone give you greater than now? Starting here, right in this room, when you turn around. What can anyone give you greater than now? Starting here, right in this room, when you turn around. So For me, and this is a very, and often this will be a particularly subjective call, but the heart line, the pivotal line for me in this poem is the one I just repeated. What can anyone give you greater than now? And I think that the poem leads up to this, and Stafford earns this amazing line by the way this poem is written and put together. But I think this is the heart line. What can anyone give you greater than now? Starting here, right in this room when you turn around. And so, again, these are all very, I think, practical. Hopefully, you're experiencing them as practical tools for us to imbue, for us to, as we say, the first principle is speak the poem alive. And so, this is one of those other things, in addition, that we can do is to honor the heart line even more fully. And oftentimes it helps to repeat the heart line. So again, Stafford saying, starting here, what do you want to remember? How sunlight creeps along a shining floor? What scent of old wood hovers? What softened sound from outside fills the air? I love the sounds of those words. Will you ever bring a better gift for the world than the breathing respect that you carry wherever you go right now? Are you waiting for time to show you some better thoughts? When you turn around, starting here, lift this new glimpse that you found. Carry into evening all that you want from this day. This interval you've spent reading or hearing this, keep it for life. Keep it for life. What can anyone give you greater than now? Starting here, right in this room, when you turn around. Thank you so much for your listening ear. I so appreciate your being here. This series, this one, of course, this is the third in a series, is really intended to give each of us very practical tools for being able to get more power, more healing, more insight, more inspiration from the poems that we love. And I think it really does matter how we read them, whether or not we read them out loud, whether or not we step fully into the poem, its silences, its pauses, and of course, as we're talking today, its heart lines. So again, thank you so much for your listening ear. Until next time and next poem, as I always like to say, take good care of yourself. And if you can, someone else.